Hello, can I be heard? Hello, can I be heard? I think I'm able to be heard right now. Put on these headphones nice and proper. Yeah. How is it going? We're getting this thing situated. My camera actually works, as far as I know. And it looks like we're going to get ourselves another great conversation going. At least that is the hope for me. We're going to have a good conversation going. And yeah. How does everyone feel? Just reaching out to to our main individual. Reaching out to our main individual. Ooh. Here. Oh, they're ready. We are gonna go live. Looks like we are. Looks like our guest of honor is ready, and they're gonna be good for a chat. Let's head on over to our next spot. Hello.
Whoa.
How is it going?
Good. Are we live already? Is that what's happening right now?
Yeah, we are fully live. We are fully live.
Oh, shoot. Let me do my makeup real quick. Let me make sure that I'm good to go, presentable. I have to change my shirt, fudge. No, I'm great, man. I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing great. As you can see, you can actually see me now this time compared to last time where I was just a tiny little picture in the background.
Yeah. I like the background. I see like the different controllers. Let's see. I see an Incredible Hulk comic that looks like what, issue 12? And then that is
No, it's 105.
fudge. I saw the one.
Yes.
And I'm seeing like a cool, yeah, you got a bunch of cool stuff going on back there, man.
Yeah.
That's great.
It's good stuff here. This is this controller right here is actually from Power A. So when I first got into Smash in any way, shape, or form, I was like, let me get myself a GameCube controller. This is when they released the new Ultimate ones. And at the time I was living in an apartment, it was not really so good to actually play wired, but I still wanted to use GameCube controller. So I ended up getting this thing. And it lasted probably about 200 hours worth of 200 hours worth of gameplay, and now the controller doesn't even work. So it's just a nice display piece at this point.
Yeah, and I think you have like the Lilu Dally's multipass attached to it. Is that what's hanging from the chain up there?
Oh yeah, that's it right there.
Yeah, that's really funny.
I got that. I don't know if you could tell, but right here is a figure pin of Jack Skellington. Right up there.
I saw the post. Yeah, I saw the Nightmare Before Christmas posters behind you. So I figure you're a big big fan.
Oh yeah, and I forgot, and I did it again. I wore the shirt that's in the thumbnail. So if I just do this, that's That's
Yeah.
me in the
I
thumbnail.
I forgot what. I don't know if I had a thumbnail for the last video, but if like let's practice one. Should I do this? Should I just do like one of these? Like what would be a good thumbnail?
It's fine. It's fine.
All right.
The funny thing about streaming on YouTube is you have to provide a thumbnail. So like it basically thinks it's like a video or it acts like it's a video. So I can't just go
Mm.
click live and that's it like on Twitch. It doesn't really work
Yeah,
that
yeah,
way. So I had to make something and I'm like, oh, okay, well let's see how this turns out. Yeah, a little bit different, a little bit of fun. How are you feeling, man? How are you feeling today?
yeah, yeah. So I mean, I'm feeling good. I spent the morning with family and just kind of uh, like a good solid 6 hours of just gossiping, drama, talking about life and stuff. And now I'm home and I'm talking to you, so I'm doing really well.
All the good cheese miss.
The best cheese man. Actually, surprisingly, I mean I joke about drama and all that jazz and cheese man, but like there wasn't a lot today. It was mostly just watching movies and chilling. So like it was actually surprisingly chill.
For what it normally, yeah, when family stuff is
Oh,
involved, there's always
yeah,
some kind
yeah.
of weird something or other. It's like la fulana de tal saying whatever to the family, and you're like, nah, no, 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 no.
This is like the part where post-production comes in and adds like the subtitles right there. What my friend just said is that what's her face from over there was talking about, and then dot dot dot. Fulano de tal. That's a good one.
Uh, I always like growing up. I always thought I was like, "Oh man, who's this person Fulana? Why do so many people know her?"
Dude, who's John Smith? Who is John Doe? Like,
Right?
who's this person?
Literally.
I hated that. I hated that. It was such a real sounding name that growing up I just hated. Like, why? Who? Tell me who Fulano is. How am I related to Fulano? Fulano. All right, you know how like you code switch sometimes, where you're thinking like, okay, I'm speaking in English. I have an English audience, so I need to like kind of
Yeah.
like add an English accent to the like
Oh
Spanish
yeah.
words, and I do that quite a yeah.
And
No,
the
pero sí puedo hablar español a veces.
pues todo depende de quién, con
Todo
qué estás
depende. Todo depende.
hablando y de qué parte de México son, todo eso, pues.
Oh man.
The accent comes out in full blast and everything. I was when I had gone to the first MSM back, MSM Zero, I did an interview with Peckham, and the funny thing is, the in it because he's from like I think he's in Scotland. It's like, oh, it's funny when you think of like, out here in Southern California, first generation immigrant or children of immigrants, they think I said Mexico in like, a standard American accent, but they don't want Guatemala, Salvador.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was like, huh, I forgot. He's surrounded by all of us, so he hears this accent all the time.
Did he move to the States? I have zero idea who this person is. So like, is this someone that was from Scotland and then moved, or like what's their story?
So again, it's in the video, but he actually
Link bottom.
yeah, he yeah, right, link in the description below, whatever. He studied finance in Scotland,
Mm.
where he grew up and because where he lives, and he was working at a bar, and after graduating, he ended up saying, I'm gonna work at the bar, and he was talking to some dude, chatting him up, and he was like, oh, maybe I'll get a good tip out of him, and he ended up offering him a job instead.
That's pretty sick.
So he came over here to SoCal, and he got into competing in Ultimate because he was looking for a new job. He saw that there was a position open for like I guess in their finance department at Twitch. He was like, I don't
Yeah.
know what Twitch is. So he went and he looked it up, and he saw the what's the series that HBox does? I think it was Juicebox,
Yeah.
and he was like, oh, so that's what this is. And then he ended up started competing after that. So he started the competing in the middle of COVID. And when offline came back, he
Yeah.
entered, and no one realized he was this incredibly handsome Scottish man.
You know what? It's almost, yeah, like that sounds like a free ass soul. Like that sounds like someone that's just like willing to just kind of like just go with the flow and let, let life take them where they need to go. But okay, you've convinced me. You gave me the pitch. I'm gonna watch the video. So thank you very much for the summary.
Yeah. So it was pretty fun. It's pretty fun to talk to him. And I was like, ooh, I see Pet because I don't know if you know, but you know Jerry, right?
Yeah, Jerry was taken on Twitter.
Yes. Uh, that's right. That's right, Larry Lemons. Peckham for Summit. I actually knew Jerry in high school. He was a
Oh shit.
freshman. He was a freshman my senior year. And when I met, and we talk about this, like we actually caught up, and we actually ended up doing an interview last month. But like he was a little scene kid when I met him.
Yeah.
And all these years later, now he's running, or he's considered the head TO for MSM Zero. He was the head TO for Ultimate during main stage. He did Saving Mr. Lombardi between him and a bunch of other folk with that's part of the group of Top Shelf Esports. They ended up doing Wave Dash, where the infamous H-box pop off of where he slams the chair behind J-Mook.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
Yeah, so I ended up going there, and I see Peckham. I'm like, hey man, hey, that's awesome. Would you be? He just won a set. It's like, hey, would you mind doing an interview? It's like, yeah, sure. I never seen you around before, but all right.
there is so yeah, Jerry I've known for at the very least since like 2015. And when I was living in the Valley, he was running a tournament series through Top Shelf called Friday Night Turnip. So
Yep.
that was my weekly melee fix, and I got to know Jerry a little bit better by attending that tournament frequently. But yeah, also kind of a cool thing about Jerry is like so I'm really into post-punk music. So if you have like your Joy Divisions, like
Mm-hmm.
some of your early like New Order, like your Interpol, I consider them post-punk, so maybe like Proto Martyr or like
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that. Like really just deep darking, like the type of stuff you want to dance, but you're also going to cry your eyes out to. Like
Exactly.
that's my jam. Yeah, and like
Like a little bit of that
Jerry
Caifanes
has a thing.
influence.
Dude, Caifanes. I've seen Caifanes live, and
Oh
I
my
have I
god.
have thoughts on Caifanes. I'll talk about it another time. But like, anyways, so like the yeah. So Jerry, if you want the post punk hardcore playlist hookup in Spanish or like just like really niche artists, hit up
Yeah.
Jerry.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, like when I met him, he was like a little scene kid. He ended up going and hanging out with a bunch of like some of the bands that like I saw growing up, and some of the people that I knew as far as like the
Yeah.
immediate like scene from the Valley. So some of the psychobilly bands, the ska bands, the punk bands, and all that jazz. He actually is super familiar. We actually like went and talked about probably about like five or different tangents just about bands that like no most people in the Smash scene are not going to know about, just because like
Yeah.
unless you went to backyard shows between the years of like 2006 to like 2014, and unless you were part of that, you had no idea this stuff existed. This is like peak MySpace core.
The so like to kind of bring it back to Smash a little bit, like whenever someone talks to me about like, yeah, dude, Smash is crazy. Like we have like, garage tournaments, or we have tournaments at houses, or like in the basement of card shops, or in the back of like these like sandwich shops or donut places. I'm like, dog, like that's what people have to do in these scenes when like if you're part of a
Hmm.
niche subculture, you don't have spaces dedicated to whatever your interest is, whether it be like hardcore music or anything. You're just gonna make do, and you're just gonna meet up wherever you can. And
Certainly.
yeah, so backyard shows are definitely like, so not, like there's a Venn diagram for like smashers and like the hardcore scene, and like
Oh yeah.
backyard shows or house tournaments are definitely right there in the center.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like again, this was like another thing we ended up talking about. Like there's a certain kind of like hustle that you deal with having to find a show where you go like, yo, this parking lot is pretty empty. I think we can throw a stage here if we put like 4 pallets together. and like that's the same kind of mentality of like trying to find a place like where you want to throw a tournament like a Smash Fest or anything like that. It's like, yeah, there's like you said, there's a big amount of crossover for that as a result.
Yeah. If you've, I don't know if you've ever heard of them, but there's like a group that does esports apparel. I met them at Genesis, and I think they're called like Knockout Esports, or I can verify that and maybe just confirm it
Hmm.
later. But like, so these folks are awesome. I met them at like the hotel bar for like one of the Genesis evenings. I was just kind of
Hmm.
walking back to my room, and they were like, they come from like a hardcore, like really DIY, like punk background where they would be hosting backyard shows slash tournaments. So like they would have like a Smash
Yeah.
tournament, and then like people that were not competing or they were waiting for their sets, they'd go back upstairs to the show. And they said like, yeah, so like they would be just like they'd have a band performing, and they're like, okay, dude, it's your set. So like they'd pull them out of the crowd, and they just like, okay, now actually go play your tournament set. Like, well, you can come back and check out the band later. And it was like a so according to them, it was very difficult to organize, and I can only imagine how difficult it was. But it sounds fun.
Funny enough, tying back again to Jerry specifically, he sent me a flyer for a show that he threw. He called it Jerry Palooza, and it had the band. It had a bunch of bands that like we both had like a lot of like reverence for from the local scene.
Yeah,
Mata Mosca, I think Anastasia, and some other bands.
yeah.
But it was a singles and doubles melee tournament show where they
Yeah, that's what I want
had
to do.
a taco they had a taco place or a taco lady right there set up. Someone made
So
doing
good.
micheladas. And like if you didn't feel like watching part of the tournament, they had the bands playing at one point, and I'm like, yo, that's awesome.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. Like that's exactly what I want to do. So, I think like in the description for this video, you said something about like future plans for major or whatever. Like
Yeah.
that's what I want to do. Like I want to have like a big old like type of like dream I like pie in the sky type of thing where like it's an event where we'll have like tattoo artists, we'll have like other artists, we'll have like
Ooh.
like an artist alley where people just can just do their own thing. We'll have people like setting up like taco trucks or just any kind of food truck, and then just
Ooh.
having
Oh yeah.
during like pools matches, like where people are just going to be dicking around anyways and need something to do.
Yeah.
Like okay, sure, like we'll have just like a battle of the bands or like open mic karaoke or something, and then like the
Ooh.
next day would be top eight. But like that's
Yeah.
that's kind of like that's my goal, like just like a party weekend, and then just kind of like tournament slash event as an excuse to hang out, you know?
That's awesome. Hold on. Let's we actually been going for a little bit. Hey guys, welcome back. This is Drug Free Plays is the channel. This is Straight As Jesse. We're talking, we're wheeling dealing. And the person to the other side right here, you know him, you love him. And if you don't, then I don't know why you're here. I mean, don't flame anybody, that's bad. Deal for real over there says big oats. But introduce yourself to everybody again.
Yeah. So yeah, we were just kind of jumping into it. Sorry, I get carried away.
Same.
So yeah, my Smash tag is Oats. My name is Marco. Yeah, I've been in the scene for a long time. You can see this jacket behind me with like an '04 on it. So I've been playing competitive Smash since 2004. So I'm
Ooh.
like 1 year away from coming up on my 20th. And then yeah, I also helped organize Major Zine. We just finished a 5 year run of our first volume, so that was issues 1 through 15. And I've done a bunch of other things too. So I don't know like what kind of introduction you'd like, but that's pretty much the summary.
I mean, whatever you wanted, whatever you want to say, man. This is all you. We're trying to
Oh,
focus on you.
officially though, I do want to say I am not your bracket demon. So for those of you that think that I am your bracket demon, no, that's not me. That's not me.
I
Sorry. That's
whoever that was, the fact that they just kept leaving their stuff at your booth or at your table, that was so weird. That was so confusing. I'm like, how did that happen? Why is that happening?
yeah, and apparently they're from San Diego too, because they show up to San Diego locals and like they're wearing all sorts of crazy demon paraphernalia. These wild ones.
How?
Yeah, so I'm not.
Yeah, that's crazy. Someone's got to do some investigation on that and figure out who this person actually is. I bet the tattoos are just coincidental.
Okay. No, like so Can I tell you a story from Genesis?
That's exactly some of the thing. I want to hear about Genesis. So everything you got, let me know. Talk about it.
Yeah, yeah.
Whatever order you want to
Okay,
talk
so
about it.
yeah, we'll just kind of jump into it. I don't really, I mean, if you have like a bunch of questions that you want to hit, please do so. I know like last time we kind of met, we wanted to talk about things in particular, but like for
Yeah.
now, I'm just gonna kind of rip and tell a story, and then
Hell
you
yeah.
you guide the conversation because I can talk for hours. Anyways,
Exactly. Same.
so okay, so I'm at Genesis, right, and I'm like going to one of the after parties. I'm like just kind of chilling, doing my own thing, and then I run into Zoo. So like this is the same Zoo of like commentary, legacy,
Hmm.
amazing player that has been in the scene for about as long as I have, if not. Uh, anyways, and they're also like in that Wombo combo video and
Yeah.
everything else. They've done so much like YouTube tutorials. I can talk about Zoo's resume for hours. Zoo's cool. And I think he was one of the people that was actually commentating that your bracket demon match. So when your bracket demon was playing
Hmm.
Mar, like the Marth from I think Ontario, Canada, or like somewhere in that area, somewhere in that
Hmm.
vicinity. It was Zoo, Bish, and Nathan Sandwich that were doing the commentary. Um, and so I waved to Zoo at the bar, and I'm like, just kind of walking, like, hey, Zoo, we're catching up and shit.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
he immediately reaches for my arm, and I'm wearing a long sleeve jacket, and he's just like, he starts pulling up the sleeve.
Yo.
I'm like, I'm like, kind of just had like this smile on my face the whole time, and I'm like, what you doing there? Like, Zoo, and like, he's just like, I'm just testing a theory type of thing, and I'm like, okay, whatever. So like, that was one of the more funny like interactions that I've had at Genesis around that whole thing.
Oh my god. Oh my god. That's hilarious.
Super perceptive of him, by the way. Super perceptive of him. So like I don't think anyone else would have thought about like just immediately going for the sleeves and just kind of like raising them. But
That's what I was thinking. I'm like, listen, if someone wants to identify, that's why. To connect it to something a little bit darker, this is why people
uh-huh.
in prison gangs, they have all shaved heads to make it more difficult to identify people. So
Mm.
in crowds, so they will all wear the long sleeves, and they'll all wear and they'll all have shaved heads to make it difficult to identify who is who during that entire time frame. So that person, if everything that they're doing doesn't work out, I think spending time in the correctional facilities as a correctional officer might be in their future.
Are you talking about Zoo?
Yeah.
That's like that's an amazing line to just add to your resume. Melee top contender for 10 plus years, 15 years, correctional officer at Western
Correctional
Prison. Like
officer. It's definitely going to be different than most people in the Smash community that have a secondary side job where it's mostly involved in computer science, coding, or engineering.
I wouldn't know of anyone that does that, but yeah, continue.
It seems to be the it seems to be the pipeline for most of those folks who. Oh my god. I kind of want to start off if we want to have a little bit of agenda. So I think you had announced probably the beginning or mid December. I want to say mid December, late December, that there was going to be that companion piece happening for Genesis
Mm.
with
Yeah, yeah,
Major. So what where did that inspiration come from? How did that
yeah,
happen?
yeah.
What's the story between like that idea to, well, I guess we got to do it.
Yeah, yeah. So I think that was like during our last interview where I kind of dropped hints about like us doing something that was in addition to issue 15 of the zine. Major as like a group as a collective was also going to be working on something else and dropping it at Genesis, and that was the companion booklet. So
Hmm.
good memory and also a good tie to like what the hint was. So I think the when we originally pitched Major, so like 5 years ago, 5 plus years ago, I was talking with one of the co-founders about it. I had always thought it would be cool for Major to be like this kind of this in-person piece of memorabilia that you can take with you and read through. Like if you're sitting in top eights, you can just kind of look at it and be like, okay, cool. These are like, player stories or people that are in attendance at the event.
Mm-hmm.
But also we would have like interviews with the TOs. And I think that was before like I even thought about including like player blurbs or anything like that. But
Yeah.
it was kind of like an idea in the back of our mind. And then Combo Breaker, so like Rick or the Hadou, I don't know if you know that TO.
Not
The
not
main, the head
100%.
honcho. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So the head honcho behind Combo Breaker, one of the greatest things that I ever seen them do is like if you're familiar with playbills for like stage productions, like
Yeah.
for any sort of they basically had like a quote unquote player's guide or an event booklet or some kind of like planner or
Yeah.
something that you can look at about Combo Breaker that gives you an entire, and Combo Breaker being this huge event for the FGC,
Oh yeah.
it tells you everything about all the games that are being featured. It had like custom art for like, just artists and stuff like that. And it had like history, biographies, interviews, and it's amazing. It's an amazing like collection. So if you go to Combo Breaker, pick one up please and work with it. Like just like pick and like just like really kind of soak it in because it's great.
Yeah.
So um I said, okay, this Combo Breaker beat us to the punch. That's exactly what I want to do. Major turned it into this whole other thing where it's like this vulnerable, beautiful art thing.
Yep.
Whereas like I feel like Combo Breaker's companion booklet or whatever you want to call it, event guide, that's what I want to do next. And so earlier this year, I reached out to one of our like early designers, and he was just unavailable just because of jobs and stuff.
Yeah.
So I said, well, who can I trust to like? I can't do this by myself. I would love to. And so Deal for Real, who I believe was asked the question earlier in the chat, and then Goob, who was like in the last interview or like was like in the chat for like the last one. So
Mm-hmm.
Deal for Real and Goob are amazing, amazing, amazing layout artists, editors, graphic designers, people that I actually trust, and they have been submitting stuff to the zine for a very, very long time. And I sat them I didn't sat them, not physically. We got into like a Discord call, and this was back in September, and I said, hey, this is what I want to do for Genesis. I want to put together a companion booklet where we're going to have player blurbs. So we're going to talk about like the players that are going to be like there, the top players that are most likely be featured in the top 8.
Mm-hmm.
We want to talk about all of the games that are going to be featured, and we're going to like give a little brief history about it, a brief history about the event, maps, advertisements. I can't tell you like about all the ideas that I wanted to do for it because I think we still might do some more.
Oh.
But yeah, yeah, for sure. And then that's how we came together over 4 months. We pitched the idea to the TOs of Genesis. They liked it. I think they trusted me because I've known them for so long.
Mm-hmm.
And we made a companion booklet for G9, and it's great. I love it.
So like I again like the last conversation I had with Jerry, and I saw that this was announced for it. The way I envisioned it was, or the way I kind of like gave him the idea of what it was, is for like large concerts or like even where like where you go to like a theme park where they'll have the map. You'll have your main pieces, your main attractions, places to go to, but you'll have like all of the sideshows and the time frames that happens. Fun places where you can like take picture opportunities where yes, the main thing you're there for is the tournament and the tournament experience, but there's all these little side pieces, all these little pieces of lore from whatever. That's a great way to engage with the thing that you're there specifically really for, in this case a tournament, but you'll have all these little extra pieces of information because the way I think about it too is every tournament is somebody's first tournament.
Yes.
You may not know that deep history. You may not know of like, oh, what happened at Genesis 1. You don't know that the fact that like, oh, in Ultimate you have MK Leo, but he may only be 22 years old, but he's been competing in tournaments since he was 9. And I think the first tournament he won was when he was 9 years old. At this point, I think he's won more Genesises than Armada. I think Armada has won 4 and MK Leo has won 5.
Yeah.
So like for like the next companion piece, if MK Leo comes back again, is he gonna? Are you gonna need 2 hands to count how many times he's won Genesis? Like that. That's like a thing that those little blurbs, those little things that kind of like it ups the individual's experience for someone who isn't just there to try to grind out friendlies or try to meet whatever player, you know?
Yeah, I think I don't want to say this as a kind of way to gas you up, but I do firmly believe that not a lot of people talk about the in-person experience for these events. I think TOs understand it.
Mm-hmm.
I think that the event planners and organizers and all of these teams that come together to put on like a Genesis or like a Big House or a Smash Con or any of those events,
Mm-hmm.
like they know that like we're planning like an experience for people that are going to be there. And the reality of it is like for any given bracket or any given tournament, like half of your entrants and your competitors are going to be out of the tournament within 2 rounds. Like they're going to
Mm-hmm.
go 0-2, and now like what do? Like so
Yeah.
they have an entire weekend to kind of fill time, and like they're not all going to just be grinding at the event there. They want to like in order to make a like and I'm not a TO. I'm not a TO, and I don't necessarily, this is my opinion of like what makes a successful Genesis 9 for me, or a Genesis event for me, or like a big tournament like that
Mm-hmm.
for me. In order to make those events successful for myself, I want to know like where are the best places to eat nearby. I want to know
Mm-hmm.
like where can I like hang out with the homies at like a once I like who can I take like where can I take them if I want to go out for like a drink or something and just like watch top 8 nearby, or like what are the side events that I can kind of enter and like I can win a prize at, or who are like the vendors featured at these booths and who can I start a conversation with? And
Yeah.
that's more long lasting and that's more impressionable to me than my bracket run where like I dress up like a fucking demon and then just like go 3-2. Like that's more like
Supposedly.
all of that stuff.
Rumor has it.
Yeah. Yeah, sorry, allegedly.
Allegedly.
The like and like that's part of the reason why I put on that character is because like I know that I'm not a Mango. I'm not a Leffen, I'm not a Jmook, I'm not a Zane, I'm not an IBDW. I'm not even a top ranked player in my region. Like that's sincere. Like I'm not gonna win these events. So what can I do within the context of the space and like within the context of the event and include other people to make it as memorable as possible and as
Mm-hmm.
fun as possible? I think you have the head for that, and I think you have the eye for that. So yeah.
Yeah. I go about it the same kind of way of, and I don't know how long it took for me to like think about or realize these kinds of things. And it's maybe because there's a podcast I listen to frequently. It's called Dr. DC Podcast. Dr. DC Podcast is as you can kind of tell, or if you can infer, it's about comic books, specifically DC lore.
Yeah.
I don't read DC comics. I barely started reading any Marvel comics within the last couple of years. But the thing that gets harped on at one point or another is, and granted, it's a Stan Lee quote, every comic book is somebody's very first comic book. You may
Yeah.
not have to, you don't have to know 40, 50, 60 years of continuity to enjoy the thing. And that's the same kind of deal of like, if you go into any space, how much insider knowledge you need before you actually go to enjoy it, you know? Like the other thing too is like that sentiment is echoed in the eyes of many commentators. Every tournament is somebody's first time watching a Smash tournament. So when people would say, "Oh, we all know these super simple basic things," like, well, yeah, because you've been playing the game for, 15 hours a day on your time off. But the person who's running into it for the very first time, they're going to just see two people on screen not knowing, and they don't know what's going on. So it's up to all the context clues around them to kind of fill them in on certain things here and there. And to create that level of accessibility brings more people in, and it brings in more people who want to be part of the experience, which in turn, hopefully, it can bring in those people to show up in person, which at the end of the day, if you're running a tournament, if you're running an event, if you're running whatever, more people in there and more people wanting to be felt or being felt that they can be invited is better for the overall thing. There's no need to gatekeep any of that, you know?
No. No. Yeah, absolutely. And this is like even kind of setting aside like monetary incentive or profit. Like I would hope that whoever's watching this or whoever like has any sort of thought about like or like TO finances or whatever, like just completely dash those ideas, like destroy them, put them in a trash can and burn them. Cause like these are people that are working at a very, 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 very like risky level when it comes
Oh
to
yeah.
just kind of like managing these events. Nothing is absolutely guaranteed with them. Like you could have like a fire alarm or something go off and like the whole thing will just be kaput and you've just lost your investment.
Yeah.
And like the this whole thing is just one giant labor of love. It's one passion project that just kind of includes other people to bring out their passion projects. And yeah, like there is zero reason to gatekeep. And there's like if you want people to see you for who you are and to like for the things you love to do and how you love to spend your time and the things you love to talk about, just like yeah, you need to be inclusive and open
Yeah.
it up. So I appreciate you bringing that up.
I think it helps that I've seen and experienced a lot of life at this point, because
Yeah.
when you think about some of the, how can I put this without trying to get like weird, when you see and experience as much as a person does,
Yeah.
and you go through and see the horrors of the real world, you don't want to bring that into these kinds of places. You want to make it so that it is that level of escape for some people, and it's their refuge. It's their, for lack of a better term, it's their safe space, right? Jerry had said during that talk that like, yeah, there's a lot of crazy, horrible, big things that are happening out there. There's a lot of discourse, especially because MSM Zero was happening just after main stage and just after the whole Panda SWT situation. Like his idea is we want to just throw our tournaments and give the people a place to go to, so that they don't have to think about or worry about all those kinds of things.
Yeah. Yeah. I actually have Jerry's great. If
He
anyone is
is.
out there, like if you want to follow a good TO, follow Jerry.
Yeah.
Jerry was taken on Twitter. The and top shelf esports is the org that they head.
Oh, real quick before I found a doc that my brother actually in there, Larry Lemons, had found. It's called Locals, and it features Jerry. And I guess it was filmed at, I think the place was called Schoonerville, right? That's where Friday Night Tournament was. It features him and a bunch of other people in there. You see Lucky, you see a bunch of folks, and Jerry is the actual thumbnail for it. So if I find it, if I find it again, I'll send it over to you so you can take a glance at it. I think it's about like 8 minutes or so. So you're like, oh, that was 2007 to 2008 or 2017 to 2018. So
Yeah.
I'll send that over when I have a chance.
Yeah, and I might show up in there because like every Friday it was just me and my partner going there. So that's a good memory. I would greatly appreciate you sending that over.
I'll find it and I'll send it when I can.
Yeah, fuck, what was I gonna? Sorry, can I swear?
Go ahead.
No,
We're fine. We're fine.
No, so you were talking about like providing Smash as kind of like a refuge or a safe space for people that want to kind of like just have that type of escape.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna challenge you there. So like one thing that I don't necessarily agree with that. Like I agree that Smash should be a very safe place. Like safety should be the number one concern for any TO that wants to run an event. Like
Certainly.
more so than more so than like the accuracy of the bracket or seeding or anything like that. Safety comes first. Like as long as people are feeling safe, they're gonna have a good time. Like you can facilitate them having a good time.
Yeah.
But as far as like kind of like escapism, and this is where like I'm gonna get spicy and I'm not kind of afraid to kind of say it, is like I think that we still need to kind of realize that we are in the real world. Like we have, and this kind of comes back to that original talking point that we were having about controllers like 2 or 3 months ago, where it's like you live in a real world where you still are going to have like the burdens of like finances and politics and your relationships outside of Smash and everything like that, and to want so badly for that to never enter what you're doing with Smash. And like the biggest example that I can think of is like if someone were to use their Smash platform, like let's say like an IBDW or like an MKLeo or like a Spargo, if they were to say something like just talk about immigration with their platform, you know how many people would comment and say like, "Why are you bringing politics into Smash? Just play your video game," you know? And
Oh
like
yeah,
that's when I would say like, "Why are you so afraid to confront the real world? Like, why are
yeah,
you so?" And a lot of it's like, I get it, I get it. Like politics and things like that, and even like all sorts of nasty stuff. Like, yeah, that doesn't necessarily belong in the same sentence as like Byleth wins over Steve. But like
yeah. I
it,
guess
it,
it's
it
true.
really it doesn't belong in the same sentence. But by that same token, because you're so caring, because you're so caring about your own scene and the types of things that are kind of coming into it, I would probably investigate those feelings about like why are you so adverse to it, or like why are you so protective, and like okay cool, you're protective of the scene, but how can you acknowledge what is happening and then also just like keep that sense of safety. So I don't know, I do think
Yeah,
like that. I don't think escapism helps. I think that especially for a lot of the smashers,
yeah.
I think they do need a heavy dose of real world, but like that's just me.
There's I think it was it CEO? I think it was CEO.
Yeah.
Where I forgot the name of the player for Guilty Gear. They came out. This was just off the heels of the Supreme Court's decision with Roe v. Wade,
Mm,
and they came out dressed up. I think as like a character from Persona, and the first thing that came out of their mouth was trans rights and
yeah.
fuck. Thank you, Razzo. Was trans rights and fuck the Supreme Court.
Yeah.
Immediately the crowd burst and they were like, yeah, they're very celebratory, and I'm like, good, awesome. And then I send, oh yeah, they had just beat Hotashi. They just beat Hotashi right now. Oh, my brother's watching Frosty Friends. Oh, good to know. Just after that, people went insane in the chat saying, why do you have to bring politics and all this stuff into fighting games? And Hotashi had ended up putting it out there, not doxing them, but like finding every person who said anything transphobic, anything misogynist, and I think made like a bot to like find them so that they can be auto banned from their these platforms in Twitch chat, which like I think that's pretty fun. That's fun to hear. That's hilarious. Because like he's calling these people out hard and he's using this platform for that, or was using this platform for that very reason.
Yeah.
Because in order to create these spaces where we want to feel a person can be their most authentic versions of themselves and
Yeah.
they can exist in the way that they are meant to exist and express themselves in the way that they want to express themselves, we got to let them know, and we got to give them the goddamn hands and say that shit is not acceptable.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm like I'm cool with the initiative. Like I'm cool with like the sentiment. I'm cool with like yeah, that's like that's the fire that you want. Like that's the ally that you want to be able to kind of just like really preach, or not preach, but like spread their truth, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I like that you also kind of brought up spaces, because I feel like in some more like it basically in some, I do a lot of like racial awareness training and a lot of like empath training and a lot of like these types of things that kind of like help out with mental health things just because of the nature
Mm-hmm.
of my job and my interest outside of Smash.
Mm-hmm.
And like there's a common, not a common thing, but like there's a growing, so like the use of the phrase like safe space is amazing, right? Because we kind of like we're creating this space where we want to be able to make it safe for folks to express their truths and to be their authentic selves and to tell,
Mm-hmm.
hey, this is, you'll be fine, you won't be admonished for that. But I think like there's like a growing backlash, or there has been a backlash towards that. Like we're saying like it's not, it's not challenging people enough and giving them like the practice that they need, that you would kind of like face like the backlash, or like the what's it called, the retaliation that you would
Mm-hmm.
receive if you were to have that type of authenticity out in the real world. So
Yeah.
people have been saying things about like using brave spaces where like open, not argumenting, but like open disagreement is also encouraged. So it's not just you being safe and then like everything's accepted, everything's cool, non-judgment. It's more like, okay, let's have a brave space where you can be authentic and someone's going to completely, someone in this group might disagree with you. So like just be prepared to like not just defend your spot, but also just kind of like stand with your truth and also accept them and their truth and then have a conversation around that disagreement.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm all for it, dude. I'm all for discourse now. Like, especially like, okay, so like bringing it back to Smash and bringing it back to Genesis 9. Like, I don't know if you saw when we posted up the link for like issue 15, like they had that kind
Oh,
of like,
I want to get into that. I want to get into that
okay,
because
yeah, do it.
and we'll jump back to like some of your experiences and how we go. But like, I think I know where you're going with this, but I want to let you finish saying what I think you're gonna say.
No, no, like no, that I think we're on the same page. Haha. Like just
Uh,
ask it, just ask it, dude. What did you want to talk about? What did you want to say? Like this is your show.
it's my show, but you're the guest, and like I try to accommodate the guests as much as possible. But what
Sweetheart.
I was, what I, where I think you were going with this was, I can't remember what page number it was. I should have wrote that
30.
down. But was it
It's 30. It's right in the center.
okay? Was the picture, the infamous picture with the hat on fire, the panda? Yeah, exactly, the panda thing, the piece of panda merch on fire, and like there are so many ways that like people like saw that, and I understand some of the sentiments that people were talking about and the way that they felt, and that's fine, and that's exactly, that's their way to feel. But that is it felt to me like that's a sort of projection of what anger that they still had about what it was. And for those who don't know, and in case we didn't say it, that particular page shows a hat from Panda that was on fire. And say what you will about whatever that's supposed to be or whatever that's supposed to mean, but that it was a beautifully taken photo. Like it
Yes, it
really
was. It's a
was.
gorgeous. It's a gorgeous
It
photo.
was
Holy shit.
amazing. It was beautiful. And there's so many things that like I thought about when I saw that picture.
I sent you the link in the if you want to post it up in your like game
All right,
in your
let's
chat.
all right.
Maybe I can do that. I can join the
Yeah.
DM.
I'm gonna post it in here just in case.
Yeah.
Boom, that's gonna be in there. So if you want to do that, we can have that in there. I might actually also put it in the video description in here because that's a thing you can do in YouTube. You can update video descriptions
In real time.
in real time. So save. So now if you go to the video description, you will see that that link is in there. In case for some reason the link doesn't work out here. But yeah, it's certainly a very provocative image, right? And my feelings were very contrary about what that picture was or what it was supposed to be. I guess compared to the general outrage of what it was. It means to me, and again, it's always art is always up into interpretation, and the intent of the artist is always something to hold on to and to kind of think about. I don't know if you watch Philosophy too, but they have a great episode or video on art and meaning and intent and artist intent and it's a real great video. So if you haven't watched it, I recommend watching it. They do great stuff. There is a sense of frustration within the photo. There is a sense of loss, a sense of heartache. There is a whole lot of I want to say disappointment, but a lot of those similar feelings in it that I see. There is, the idea of we have to move forward, which is funny because that was their phrase, hold forward. we have to create a new beginning out of, you know, the pains and the ashes of everything that came before us. You know, fire has always been representative of rebirth and creation. It's also seen as a conduit for destruction, all at once. And those were the feelings, sentiments, and the ideas and concepts I got from it. And again, that is my take on it. A lot of people didn't think the same, but that's what I got from it. And it was definitely a very thought invoking, and it opened a lot of conversation about, you know, again, intent, what leftover feelings that I guess the general scene didn't kind of like needed to digest with the whole panda thing, you know.
Yeah, yeah, and thank you for that beautiful interpretation. I mean, it's a thoughtful read of the photo, and I can tell that you really kind of took to heart what you had seen in those videos because you're talking about just like the imagery, the history, and also just the emotions tied to like really kind of primal type of like, um, I guess for lack of a better word, imagery, especially when you're talking about fire.
Yeah.
But so thank you for sharing that. For those the photo was taken by redshirt underscore. It's kind of funny. This is actually one of the latest pieces. I had done a deadline for like submitting pieces, and then as I was working on the companion booklet, we had a couple of photos that we needed to kind of like find of players. Like we said, like, oh, we don't have this for like for Riddles, or we don't have this for like MKLeo or like Spargo, like just
Hmm.
because they weren't in like the Genesis archive. So we had to kind of reach out and find photos. And
Hmm.
then I reached out to Redshirt because they had a photo that I was like really, really into. And then for one of the players. And then I asked, and I realized like I had like an open history, like an open DM history with this person before, and I was like, oh
Hmm.
crap. And then so I reach out to them, and then I say like, hey, I'm really really sorry. You had wanted to submit like a couple of photos before, and I just didn't include them. That was actually my bad. And it actually happens. I don't want to say quite often, but it happens enough where like I think I forgot to include someone's piece in this last issue, which is like a really huge drop for me. And then I've also forgot to include other pieces as well from like other folks, and like they had pictures of their controllers and everything. So I feel really, really, really bad, and I hope that they can forgive me for that. But the so red shirt, I was like, I'm really sorry, I forgot to include your submission when for like the last issue that you wanted to. Would you like to submit anything for this one? I know it's past the deadline, but I'll just put it in there. And sure enough, he's like, I got one. And it's like they said like the classic. And like that's and then just like I see this giant photo of like a panda hat on fire, like, yeah, that's pretty classic.
Yeah.
Like I had zero words for it. So when I
Yeah.
do the layouts for each individual issue, I kind of do it like in a way where I'm thinking like, okay, if it's a long written piece, where can I offer a break? Long written piece, image, long written piece, image, maybe poetry, photo, and then just kind of like thinking about like a rhythm. Because we want
Hmm.
to be able to kind of guide the reader and make it seem like they're not like burdened with having to read like if I put all of my text pieces in the front, like you would just be like, like your eyes would glaze over.
Yeah.
And there was a spot right in the dead center, and I was just kind of playing around with like organizing things, and I thought this is the only place it belongs. Like this is an amazing photo. I need to put it in the dead center. Just like when you're even just kind of strumming through, or not strumming, but like going through the pages, and you just kind of open it up, bam, right there, boom.
Yeah.
So dead center, page 30 out of a 60-page booklet is this photo by Redshirt. And yeah, I think you asked about like what had happened in Genesis, or like the reaction to it. Is that what you wanted to talk about?
Yeah, between that at Genesis and online, and like there was a lot of, I saw a bit of talk about it, and it's, again, it comes to like artist intent, artist interpretation, the individual's interpretation, or what they perceive the intent or the perceived interpretation. And like, say what you ever want to say, and say what you will about people. Like sometimes people don't want to think about, what does this singular photo mean? Like what do I think about? Like what, and they don't go inward, and they kind of just see it. It's like it's a hat on fire. They're saying fuck panda or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
And it led to a lot of like strange discourse that like you could tell some of these people aren't as experienced with seeing things deeper than a surface level, you know. And and maybe that might have caused some of it. And I kind of want to see from your end, in person and online, like what did that look like? What did that feel like? And I know you had to issue a statement, or you ended up issuing a statement about it.
Yeah. So I didn't know. Like I was so in the moment of like I need to run this table, I need to organize this, I need to be here at this time, and this time I need to like go to my polls. Like I think we dropped it on Friday morning, and then it wasn't until like Friday afternoon that people started talking to me about like, hey, what's going on? Like your thing is getting traction. I opened up my phone, and like my Twitter, like my Twitter notifications were usually like they're one or two. Like I only have like one or two Twitter notifications. I'm like, okay, cool, I'm happy with this.
Yeah.
But like I had like tens, maybe like a bunch, and I was like, fuck, what did I like? Did I forget to credit someone? Like, what did I do wrong? You know, like how did I fuck up? And then I actually read through the discourse, and then it's pretty funny because a lot of the people that had kind of responded to that I saw throughout my day at Genesis, and
Hmm.
like I was like, okay, so like maybe I saw them before it, like they saw the actual page itself or after, I don't know. But anyways, so I immediately thought, okay, how do I protect the people that had contributed? Like, how do I protect Redshirt? So
Hmm.
I reached out to Redshirt, I messaged them, and I said, hey, I'm really, really sorry about this. I hope that you're okay. I hope that you don't not feel under attack or like no one's kind of coming at you or anything like that. And then they said like their response was like, it's totally fine, thank you. And then they immediately quote tweeted like the photo or something, and they said, this picture is fuego. And I'm like, I
Awesome.
I'm like, okay, like this red shirt's fine, red shirt's cool. All right, like cool. Like red shirt's fine. Next order of business. And then I went to the Discord for Major, and I did an announcement in there, and it's basically telling folks, hey, thank you for your contributions to Major. If you submitted something, I really appreciate it. I'm sorry I didn't really credit you with our long credit thread. I'm just busy at Genesis. But also, if you feel offended by this, please let me know and reach out to me, because like
Hmm.
the contributors are submitting blind. I want to remind folks that like when you submit to Major, or I guess the publication that it is, um, you're just kind of like submitting something hoping like I remember, because like a lot of the times I forget. You're hoping that I remember to not only
Yeah.
take your piece, put it on the page, design it, layout it, and then like include all of the other stuff, and you're
Yeah.
also hoping like you're going to be in an okay final product. It's a lot of trust. Like
Yeah.
these submitters, contributors are trusting me to put something out that's good, so that other people would want to watch it, and then like the whole platform, it's just one giant platform for like really showcasing beautiful work. So
Yeah.
like making sure everyone else is okay. No one was offended. No one really messaged me within the contributors that I know of that was offended. So it's
Yeah.
like, okay. And then I was like, I took that same statement I sent to the Discord. I edited a couple of sentences. I really kind of wanted to key in on making sure that the people that were offended could feel comfortable and safe. There's that word. That's safe about
Yeah.
like being able to DM me if they are feeling that way, and I'll have that conversation. And that is my responsibility, and it was only
Yeah.
me. But I would also challenge them to be brave and to really kind of confront like any sort of feelings, or like really kind of see it for like Major is all about artistic integrity and like
Hmm.
sincerity and vulnerability and like presenting, what we feel and how, and like whatever you're proud of in that moment, right? So I stand by the decision that I made to kind of include it, and I'm really really sorry. We could have a bigger conversation about being offended, and I don't think that was the intention at all.
Yeah.
But yeah, like this is, and I so yeah, but that was my statement. The cool thing. Okay, so the in-person reaction after all the dust had settled.
Hmm.
Um, again, I had seen the people that were that were offended, or that were quoting like and doing all that stuff. I was actually kind of like walking next to them at some points, or like over the course of the weekend, and they never came up to me. No one ever messaged me directly. No one ever said anything. So
Yeah.
like I was like, maybe just that initial hit happened and they were just okay afterwards.
Yeah.
But a couple of ex-Panda employees came up to me. Some have DM'd me, and some actually came up to the booth and said, "Yo, that picture's sick." And I'm like, I'll let people decide who I'm doing impression like of. Yo, that picture's fucking sick, man. Don't like. And I'm like, okay, dude. Put the
That's awesome.
picture. I just put it in. Yeah. So a lot of people were really supportive. Okay, so one person in particular actually was like livid. They were like, I can't believe this happened to you. I can't believe people are doing this to you and coming after you. Don't they know that Major is completely grassroots? And don't they know that you've been in the scene long enough that you love all Smash games? Like, how the hell? And then like there were some people that replied to the initial like link that I dropped
Hmm.
that were also kind of like really livid and upset and offended. But I think they deleted their replies and then they ended up following the major account.
Hmm.
And I think it was because they realized like, oh shit, like I've known Oats for a long time. Like this is actually this is the person that's running it. Like, oh shit, like I would hope that once. And that's the funny thing about Major, and we can talk about that, like if you want to talk about like next steps for the future. The funny thing about Major, especially over the last 5 years, it's like it's so
Hmm.
closely associated with me. Like I'm this is just complete self-awareness. Like I know when people look at the Majorzine account on Twitter, they sometimes their mind immediately think, oh, this is Oats that's writing the tweet, or this is like an Oats thing or an Oats production or whatever like that. And
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of what I have to live with for better or for worse. So like I think eventually people realize like it's me, and hopefully like I have years of goodwill and trust
Yeah.
and all sorts of other stuff that they can understand like I'm coming from a good place.
Yeah, I think you had also put that in the at one point. I think just after, I want to say it was just after episode issue 15 had dropped. That the overall goal wasn't to have the Oats project. It was to create something that people can go and express themselves in and express the greater scene in, and kind of just be the conduit for all these people to kind of show who they are beyond that. And it's a thing that sometimes people have to struggle with, that they are, like you said, for better or for worse, the figurehead, the face that people think about when it comes to something that, like, in a way becomes more of a monolith. And even if it's greater than what they are, they the person who's in charge of it is seen as these, almost like the sole responsibility, or they become the person that has the sole responsibility for what it is, even if it's at this point beyond everything that they could have ever like put together, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that was kind of like that was really beautifully worded. You're a really good like you should look into a career with public speaking. I mean, I hope this is a really good outlet for you for like that
Oh
those
God,
skills.
listen. I want to say this. I was listening to I was watching. No, I was listening to a podcast as I was driving home one day, and I ended up re-listening to our first conversation, and I'm thinking of it like, man, we were gonna get really into it, and the video is about to end in 15 minutes. What the hell? And I tell my fiance the same thing, like, yeah, we were really about to get into it. It's like, well, you gotta let me have a chance to talk. You can't be a 2 hour only you podcast. It's like, well, listen, hold on. I need my own
And like
outlet.
no, you do. You absolutely do. And like I would hope that whoever's watching this understands like this is a conversation. And like
Yeah.
with a conversation, it's like a back and forth, right? And you're just exchanging ideas. And it's everyone knows what a conversation is. But
Yeah.
like
Hopefully.
I hope that this is oh yeah, I hope that you're like as I hope that you're getting as much out of this and you're enjoying this and it's as rewarding for you and it's
Oh
also a way
yeah.
to like you to express yourself because I mean for me it's just like hanging out with a homie. But like for you like I'm sure you have like greater ambitions because this is on your channel and you want to do stuff. I get it. But so going back to the thing about the monolith though,
Hmm.
yes, I think originally I wanted a way to like to kind of get my writing out there because I think 5 years ago I was like really into just writing Smash shit. Like I was just writing like allegories, metaphors for Smash and all sorts of other stuff. And I thought what better way for me to get my stuff out there than to kind of get a collective of people and then we can all get our stuff out there.
Hmm.
But over time things change and my priorities changed and my thoughts on inclusivity and like getting art out there changed. And I think for the much better. Like it's like I was not gonna submit anything. Okay, so real talk.
Real talk.
If you were to turn to page 32 of the zine, the very next page after the photo, you would see a bare ass on the left-hand side in the bottom left. Like, like, if you wanted to be offended, you could totally find anything in this issue to get offended.
Yeah.
And like and like yeah, like I wasn't gonna submit anything other than this. Like, and then other people are submitting great writing, and it's like really really fun. And
Yeah.
so I'm glad the project is gonna live on beyond me, and I'm really happy with the 5 years that I put in. And then that's pretty much that.
That's super awesome. I have been drinking too much water in one period of time. So if you don't mind holding on, I would like to throw this to some be right back, a be right back scene. Give me about 2 minutes, and we can come back to the conversation. Uh, there's a couple of things I want to like touch on, and it looks like we're gonna make our way there. We're gonna make our way there anyway. Let's take this as a quick little drop a little pin in it, if you don't mind. I don't know how much time you have. As far as I know, you're not going to go see Modest Mouse again.
Yeah, no, I don't. I'm not gonna go to a Modest Mouse show after this. So shout out to Modest Mouse.
Shout out to Modest Mouse. So, if you don't mind, let's take a quick pause, and we'll be right back. It's about 2 minutes.
For sure, for sure.
All right, I'm gonna throw it to some BRB music and then a BRB scene. You're probably gonna still see me because that's how this works. But on stream, you're gonna see the thumbnail, and I'll probably turn off my camera for a quick sec, or you'll see this picture of me. Do you see that picture?
I see that picture of you. You're good, dude.
All right, everybody, we'll be back. And I think we are back. Are we back?
Yeah, you caught me in the middle of looking at my phone, dude. You gotta warn me.
It don't matter. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. As long as no NSFW was directly being pointed at the screen as if you were doing this, I think you'll be
No,
fine.
gosh, I don't know how real you want me to get with like NSFW stuff, so I'll just kind of hold back. But like no, I don't think there's a risk of that.
All right, good. That's cool. That's cool. We're good. We're good. We're back, everybody. We are back. Oh my god. I also stopped by to kiss my dogs because they were waiting in our bedroom. I went by and gave them a bunch of kisses. So, being someone who's raising a puppy now, I think you understand the sentiment of like seeing the dog and just giving them affection and kisses just because they exist.
You know what? I love I love receiving affection and kisses just because I exist. So I extend the favor out to any living thing that I can affectionately love and kiss. So yeah.
There
Definitely.
you go. We are back, everybody. So last thing we were talking about is kind of like the idea of the being a monolith, and now Major's kind of moving on, and like there are two pathways. It seems like where this is going. Does that sound about right? Like there is Major one way, and then we got everything Oats is doing over here. And like there's two kind of like diverging timelines, if you will, about some stuff that's happening. Since the zine is
I'm laughing because you make it sound so freaking epic. I'm like, dude, I'm just like I just stopped like editing a zine. Like it's not like I'm not like fucking messing around like with the time stone and like creating a new timeline. Like it's not this isn't just like Infinity War, you know? Please continue. No, please continue. Gas me up. I love it.
you have see I made a post on the actual YouTube channel about trying to get as many stories out there as possible, and then the more I can talk about it, the more these kinds of things can get out there, the better it is for everyone. Because, and we've said this before, and I've said this in to a bunch of other people, that like, yes, you know, Mango, HBox, Zane, MKLeo, Riddles, Spargo, all of them are super important. But there's always those little stories you never hear about. You know, I had no idea who the fuck Hanky Panky was until someone said, "Hey, you may not know this person, but look at their storied history," right? You know, so I want to gas you up for as much as possible for these kinds of things, because these stories are super important, and you know, someone has to talk about it. There you go, the unknown god of Melee, Hanky Panky.
Yeah.
So there is this divergence now going forward. Now that the issue has dropped, and I'm sure there's going to be more Genesis stories, and you know, as soon as you get the inspiration one or something that comes to you, you're going to have Major heading one way, Oats kind of maybe going on a parallel path, but not exactly the same one. And what I kind of want to talk about, or at least the next place that I want to go to, is, do you think you kind of did what you could with it, and this is kind of how you decided, I think my direct involvement with Major is kind of run its course, and it now needs to continue on its own path, and you'll do your adjacent path, and is like the companion piece for Genesis involved in it, and like where does that come in? Did you know this was going to be the last one?
Yeah. So I was around it was around April or March of this year, after I had done the PM Theater one. Like the PM Theater one absolutely killed me because I had been working on it throughout the entire night, and I didn't even have physical copies to pass out at PM Theater.
Oh
So I
no.
felt like really bad. Yeah, I felt really bad about it, and I was
That
just
was
like,
their
you know, like
that was their summit, right?
yeah, that was their summit. That was the project, the P plus PM summit. That's good. You're freaking good at this. Anyways, so like
I tried.
So I didn't have printed out physical issues, and I wanted to, and I felt really bad about it, and I was just kind of like thinking about how much how exhausted I was, and how much I wanted to deliver something for people. And so the next issue was going to be for actual Genesis 8, and I was going to print out physical copies, and I got a table for it, and I think I told like one or two artists that were contributing for that, I'm like, yeah, this is gonna be my last one. I need a break after this. I need this was like issue 11.
Mm-hmm.
And the boothing experience was fun. It was okay. But the reception and everything else that kind of came with it, it was great. Like I loved the fundraising aspect of it, because I think that was the first one we did fundraising for. I loved being able to kind of like to it was such a good one. Like if you look at 11, that's a
Mm-hmm.
fantastic issue. Like it has great poetry, great writing. The covers are amazing. One was done by Guppies and the other one was done by Drunk.
Was that
And I
the
was like, yeah, this.
was that the issue that was before the I think it was the double sided back one where it's like Captain Falcon on like on a vert ramp.
Yeah, so the Captain Falcon on a vert ramp was issue. So issue 11 was the Genesis 8 one, and that's the one that has like the only on major, or like the only on issue 11. It looks like Smash 64, but like it has this
Oh,
guy
okay, it's
playing it
that
like
one. That
super
one.
raked
Okay.
out. Yeah. That's a cool one. That was such a fun experience. And then like I went on a road trip for like, and I told everyone, okay, instead of making it my last issue, I'm just gonna go on a break. Then I went on a road trip across to like Texas. I drove all the way to Texas for like a tournament, like a shitty little like water park tournament. I think it was Riptide. I think it might have been Riptide. And then
Probably. Who
shitty
knows?
little water park. I'm saying shitty, like it's actually like one of the bigger like Texas majors. I'm really really sorry if it's
For those
familiar.
who don't know.
But like yeah, it's actually a really big event. So like if I get like if they come at me for that, okay, you know what? It's fine. It's fine. Texas can totally take a swing at me. It's fine. I deserve it. But like that the actual event itself was so cool, because not because of the tournament. I think I placed really pooply, but I connected with people that I hadn't talked to in a while, and like the Texas scene is super cool. I met a photographer there by the tag of Majora that I'm a huge fan of, and that they've been contributing to Major since like the early issues.
Hmm.
And then like I went out to Austin. I partied in Austin like along 6th Street, and then I came back and I went to like White Sands in New Mexico. I went to Meow Wolf in Santa Fe, and that super inspired me.
Hmm.
I just stop by places and I get inspired by different pieces of art, or like different thoughts or reflections or music that I kind of like encounter along the way. And I'm like, fuck, dude, I'm getting the bug. And like, I'm getting like that. Like, I need to produce like a major issue bug, which is like
Yeah.
it's a very specific feeling. And so like, all right, fuck the break. So I said fuck the break, and then like I immediately said like, oh, we're accepting submissions for Pride Month, and then that was like the one with like the Pride flag and the different colored controller. That was
Which
like our identity issue.
which is like that out of like the more recent issues, I think
Yeah.
that's probably like my favorite looking cover, because like anytime, like it reminds me of like when people make the Rubik's cube art of anything, and it's just like I thought it was like, oh, what kind of like pixels are they using or anything, and I realized it's the controllers of all the different colors. Like this looks great, and like the detail of it is amazing. So that's a really cool one.
Yeah. And shout outs to Obregon, or Stacked. Rafael Obregon. Stacked, they're in the Midwest. They did that cover. So yeah, and then I just kept going and going and going and going, and then I think I took a break after the Captain Falcon on a vert ramp one. Then I did Big House. Big House. The boothing experience was kind of a gruel. Like it was really grueling, because I flew out to Michigan and I boothed there, and it was kind of really
Oof.
boring. Like I didn't want to be there. And then I really, really thought about it, and I'm like, why am I doing Major? What have I accomplished with Major, and where do I see myself? Like, can I get any bigger and better? And then I was really, really honest with myself, and he's like, no. I mean, I've accomplished everything that I wanted to. There are some ideas that I kind of left at the table, but like for the most part,
Generally
yeah, I've
speaking.
done it. I've done it. Yeah, I've done it all. Like I've how much more can I like do like another Smash poem that's a metaphor for like life, or like like what
How
can I
much
really do
more
with cover
smutty
art?
fan fiction of fiction can you make? You know.
Honestly, there's a growing fiction arc that I actually kind of want to write about. But anyway, so like The Nah, so like I'm thinking, you know what? It's cool. I've this is great. I love this project, but I think I've hit all of the high notes, and like
Hmm.
let's just do one last one, Genesis 9, 5 years afterwards. So it's issue 15, 5 years after the first issue, exactly. And then also I'll just accept everyone and I'll just tell everyone it's the last issue and that'll be it.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's I think that answered your question, I hope.
Yeah, no, like, and a couple of things about that. Also, that like it's kind of fitting that like if you want to look at it as far as like the tournament is concerned, it is probably a, an amazing set of storylines that took place with like Ultimate Storyline was a really good one just because it was MK and like, you know, he's had his little bit of a slump. He's having his mango slump era right now where he's his
Really?
lowest placement. He I think he didn't make it into top 9 or to top 8 last summit. So his that is now outside of like this regional where he was working on Joker. He got like 33rd in Japan. This is his lowest placement, ninth place, right?
Mhm.
And it all happened in a year where he didn't. No one knew whether or not MKLeo was back, and he proved everyone wrong.
Really?
He proved everyone
Yeah.
wrong with more reverse 3-0s than you can think of. Funny enough, if you don't know, MKLeo has this astounding statistic. You are more likely to lose to him in a reverse 3-0 than you are to win against him. So
That's
if
pretty
you're
good.
up 2-0 or if you're up 2-0, you are very likely going to lose. I think his statistic is somewhere in the 70 percentile of being able to win with the reverse 3-0. He would have to lose 70, not 70. He'd have to lose 50 something best of fives in order for his ratio to be under 50%.
That is gnarly.
So like there's that, but like the story that of Esam broke that rule. Yes, Esam did break that rule, and I think the only other person who did was Mars. Had MK Leo hit that back air, he would have started the reverse 3-0, and then the legend of MK Game 4 Leo would have continued probably. But the on the melee side, you have the validation of Jmook. And how fitting is it that the very same tournament that broke him 10 months ago, where it is a Cinderella story arc, just in that initial run, comes to fruition again a year later, where not only does he wins against Cody Schwab, IBDW, which is the person that he came up with. He came up and started playing Melee at the same time as him. And this was the person that, like, he has so many memories of when he had first started. The difference with Jmook is he didn't get the chance to travel, and he didn't get a chance to be sponsored by the big people. And essentially one of his best friends from that time frame is the person that he goes up against in grand finals. And he wins. And probably the best photo that was taken as far as media was Jmook coming back up and walking up the stage again with his arms just his just hands on head, and the composition of the shot where he's walking up, you see Jmook and you see the G9 up there. It's a beautiful story arc. So how fitting that like you, a Sheik main, get to release the last one where Jmook wins Genesis.
You had me the entire, like, you were weaving quite the tale. Like, you were just like, yo, kudos to this person here. They have me on the line and I am listening intently and it sounds beautiful. And then you come in with like, but you a Sheik main. How did you do that? Like, dude, I was asleep in my hotel room when J-Mook was playing grand finals. My friend was like, at the foot of the bed, like watching the set, like
Yeah.
yelling and shit like that. And I'm just like passed out like this, later. Like I'm like exhausted from like a full weekend of just like boothing and playing. So like
Yeah.
I'm really, dude. My name does not deserve to be in the same breath as like J-Mook winning J9, but I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Like that's really cool. The No, like a lot of great stuff happened that weekend. I think the general consensus between or among everyone that was there is like the vibes were just off the charts. Like if you were
Yeah.
at Genesis and you went to like the Guild House afterwards, or you were just kind of walking around in downtown San Jose at the time, there was
Yeah.
something magical going on. There was something magical was going on where everyone was just like had a giant like smile and it was like really happy to be back. It was a safe event and everyone was just like it was just kudos to like the organizers and like they really kind of knocked it out of the park. So everyone was had a great time.
Yeah. It the the air about Genesis on at least from someone who just was just watching it because I can't really take the ability to take the time off to head up to San Francisco to do that just because I have a certain responsibility to attend to. The air about it was a very important and magical experience, and it rivals some of the bigger tournaments that came before it. Just for not only, like I said, the wins of MKLeo and J Mook, and if you're big into rivals of Aether, the fact that Cake Assault, he just keeps doing it where he throws and then he takes the tournament through a bracket reset. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was definitely certainly something that people are definitely going to have some kind of regard for. Everyone else that was all like, but Start GG was garbage and blah 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 during that time frame. I'm like, listen, man, that's this, that, and the other. Don't worry about that. That's not the important part here. No, the only reason I remember that because I thought it was funny that people were mad about it. People are going to remember all the stories. They're going to remember, how they felt when they were there, and hopefully they also had that companion piece on them so they can have that physical reminder that was produced by the person I'm talking to right now.
Can I tell you? Can I tell you actually a really touching story that I heard over the weekend?
Tell me.
So like so I started Major 5 years ago. I'm gonna keep repeating that, and it's gonna like just sounds really stupid, but I mean that's what it is. I started Major along with my other co-founders, and we just did it. And then that first time we did it, it was for Genesis 5, and we had printed out 1,000 black and white copies of issue 1.
Mm-hmm.
And it was crazy because I was still passing them out just like for free. So like I was just kind of, and this is like when I didn't have any faith in the project, where like I was just like really nervous to kind of like here had this booklet, it's a zine, and I had to explain what a zine was. No one knows what the hell it is.
Yeah.
So like I was like, okay, whatever. So like I went to the venue and I just like walked the entire like the viewing for like the stage and all that other stuff, and I was just passing out these booklets. And then at a certain point, like I could see like people just discard them on the floor, like they had zero, I don't want to say zero respect, but like they didn't know what to do with it. It was cool, art was there, and they just kind of threw it on the floor or whatever.
Yeah.
So I had to kind of wrestle with that like the first 3 times, like for the first 3 issues when I was passing them out physically. I just felt weird, like it just really hurt to kind of like pass them out and then like not sure and put myself out there and be vulnerable.
Oh, yeah.
Fast forward to this 2 weeks ago now. It's 2 weeks. Wow. I'm sitting at the booth, and then I noticed this person kind of wearing a mask. They're walking around with their mother, and she stops at our booth, and she kind of looks, and then I ask her, hey, do you have any questions about the zine? Do you want to know what we do? This is all of our history.
Mm-hmm.
And then she kind of like eyes and like she locks her eyes on issue 1, which is at the corner of the table, like kind of nestled underneath all the other issues.
Mm-hmm.
And then she points at it and is like, "Is that you guys?" And I'm like, "Yeah, that's us. So this is we've been doing this for 5 years, and now we're back at Genesis and all this other stuff." And so this person, her story is, I flew up from, I'm gonna get the South American country wrong, but she flew up from South America 5 years ago prior, and she remembers walking out of the venue for Genesis 5, and she remembers seeing an actual issue, a copy of issue 1 on the floor. She picked it up and she said, "I read it on the plane ride back." And it's been a long time. It's been the pandemic. All sorts of other stuff has
Mm-hmm.
happened. And I'm traveling up here with my mother, and I want to get a copy of your last issue, please. So she purchased a copy of that last issue right there, and then later on she took a picture of both of them and sent them to me. And it's just like a copy of her badge from G5 and issue 1, and a copy of her or a copy of issue 15 and her badge from G9.
Yeah.
And like she said, like it's an amazing thing, and I'm really happy with what you do. And we talked a little bit back and forth about like what she does for her scene, and it's really tiny and stuff like that. And she kind of just like carries the torch for it sometimes. But I was
Mm-hmm.
like, whoa, someone in South America is reading Major, and they're reading the smut that I'm putting out there. That's so like,
Oh my
so like,
gosh. Yes.
so yeah, so yeah, like that's pretty cool. Like as far as like legacy or 5 years or vibe or whatever, like yeah, that's pretty dope. I was able to connect with someone, and I didn't even meet them 5 years ago. So like they
Yeah.
they just remembered and they just have it still.
That's astounding. That's it. It proves like this kind of like power of when you have an interest, and if there's just like one person that's just slightly above you in like what they present or what they want to bring to your interest, the littlest things can have the longest lasting impact. Before I moved out of my parents for the first time, I had a box that had all these flyers and posters and set lists that I took from people's from like a bunch of different shows that I would go to. And like 90% of them, I did not go to any of the shows. But the value that they presented was more of this is a keepsake for experiencing the things that I've experienced. And I can remember the the amount of people that were there. You can feel everybody's sweat evaporating into creating condensation, and everybody has to get kicked out so that they can air out the venue because it's a very old place and they got probably about 15-year-old equipment, and if it gets too steamy in there, it's going to short it out and then the show gets canceled, right? But these are physical reminders that kind of allow you to put your emotional stake and your interests and see a physical manifestation. So to hear that, like, this person from thousands of miles away has that, it's very impactful to hear. It also reminds me of I brought this podcast up before, but This Is Rad. They had an episode on lucha, and one of the guests created and founded a lucha libre magazine where they went through some of the history, some of the art, some of the cultural pieces surrounding it, and he was just taking it, uploading it, putting it somewhere. People liked it. He had physical copies he would put in different shops. And sometime later, he meets somebody and says, "Oh my God, wait, you're the person that did that magazine?" And he goes, "Yeah, you wouldn't believe this. Part of the reason why the show Mucha Lucha exists is because
Wow.
of this magazine. And it made its way all the way to New Zealand. And that's part of the reason why it even existed. The person who created it was someone somehow involved, this guy from New Zealand who was enamored with lucha. And they created Mucha Lucha together.
That is wonderful. That is
So
crazy.
so that's the kind of power like these types of things have.
Yeah, yeah. And that's a really beautiful story. Um, the I think so. One thing I love every single issue. Like there is no lie there. Like I love every single issue for like different reasons, and every single issue kind of is like a snapshot of where my mind was at that point in time.
Hmm.
I'm really glad that for issue 15, like the very last issue, that so much stuff happened around it. So much stuff happened where I was able to meet people that had like followed the scene for a while, or like we had 30 plus contributors across 60 pages. I love that like there was controversy around it. I thought that was really cool. Like
Yeah.
I'd never had anything controversial happen within Major except for one moment. But like that was like an allegation quote of like art theft. But but yeah, having controversy around it was great. Like I think I posted this in the Major Discord. But like so usually we kind of like average around like 50 to 100 like readers for every single issue drop for like over the last year and a half. So that
Mhm.
means every time I drop a link, 50 or 100 people look at it and click into it and maybe not even read it, but they just kind of do the thing, right?
Yeah.
And usually it's just contributors and their families and their friends and people like, it's just the people that are in the know about what it is.
Yeah.
Um but for issue 15, that number was massive. Like I forgot, but it was like either 6,000 plus or tens of thousands. And then the Twitter impressions alone for the original link drop was like 186K, which is fucking mind blowing. Like I was like,
Ooh.
holy shit. So like I can't imagine a better way to kind of go out and say like this is my last issue than to have something that's comprehensive, that was beautiful, that has like a wonderful cover, that has really, really, really something to say. Like it covers both games, I think, and
Hmm.
or Ultimate and Melee. And yeah, like I'm really, really happy with how that kind of ended up happening. And we ended up fundraising $6,000 for charity. So like the San Jose Community Center, the I've been saying the name all right this entire time, but now it just kind of escapes me. But like the community center that we're donating to, the
Yes.
Billy DeFrank Community Center in San Jose,
Yes.
we're gonna get a plaque because we donated so much. So like
Yo,
it's
that's
gonna be
awesome.
yeah. So this is the best like I couldn't have asked for a better like ending for this.
Uh, so speaking about that particular portion, now I may be misremembering,
Yeah.
but there was some drag that was promised. Or am I misremembering what I read?
You're not misremembering. There was drag. No, like the
Where's that
I'm
evidence? I need to see
that
this. If we get, I
okay.
demand seeing Oats and Drag. Post those pictures if as long as you won't lose your job or anything. I want to see
No,
this.
no.
This is great. That would be awesome to see.
I'm gonna say it right now. If I work for a company that fires me for like wearing drag, then I'm working for the wrong company and I hope they fire me. Like that's like straight up. Like
Yeah, that's
no,
true.
I can't I like so Billy DeFrank Community Center is an LGBT community center in San Jose, local. Absolutely just
Hmm.
like their scope is super duper small. And what they do is they provide resources for that community. They either like event space, event planning, medical resources, education, teaching, training, anything that you can possibly want. It's right there offered, and it's like it's available to the public of San Jose.
Yeah.
Um, dope. The um the the person that I was communicating with was like the director there, sweet older woman that was just like just chatting me up a storm when I was talking to her on the phone leading up to the event. And she's like, Outs, you gotta come to the Sunday event we're gonna have. It's gonna be like a big old drag, like flea market over here. Like, and she had like that kind of like that type of accent, like that really sweet, like, city woman that's seen it all type of accent. And she's like, you gotta come to the flea market, Outs. And I'm like, right, okay, sure. And like, I promised it, and I said, like, only if you actually come to the event. And things fell through. The plans didn't happen. They still had the flea market, and I was just asleep in my bed during top eight. So like that just I didn't end up going to the flea market. But Oats and Drag, this is a what's it called? This is a drug free plays exclusive here. Like I'm definitely really into drag. I'm definitely like exploring like making.
I've been muted the entire time. I've been muted the entire time since we were back. Oh
Did
no.
you did you record at all?
See, my recording is tied to OBS, and that means my mic has not caught a single thing. Oh well.
That was a beautiful discussion about a lot of cool things. I'm sorry.
It's fine. I'll just unlist it. This is really for us at this point. So we've been at it for since we returned from our break like 30, 40 minutes. And all that's gone. Whatever. See, Larry, why you gone? You could have stood correct.
I mean, it's fun. I had a blast.
That's funny. When you had left, but yeah, but that was before I went to the bathroom, man. Like that was like 40 minutes ago.
Yeah, what the hell, Larry?
Come on,
I'm a
man.
big Larry Lemons fan in the chat. That's
There
right.
you go. But yes, I suggest you left when you came back. Yeah, whatever. Then I don't know what happened. I suggest though you do that. You hop into Bitch Pudding's chat and say, give me some inspiration, and that will be your new persona. Definitely. So is that really the future of Oats now? It's just this companion pieces and doing doing drag at Smash tournaments. Is that the future of Oats, or what is the future of Oats now at this point?
That's actually a marvelous future. doing drag at Smash tournaments and then like just also writing companion booklets. That's actually wonderful. No, I think it was like a couple of days ago. I started writing a book. So I'm writing a book, two books.
Hmm.
One is Smash related, and another one I'm just doing research and kind of thinking about. It's going to be the big theme for me this year is death. It sounds ominous and crazy and dark and spooky, but it's more like
Hmm.
the way that like how certain Latin American countries celebrate Day of the Dead, where it's like an honoring of death in a way to kind of like get the most out of life. So that's where a lot of my creative writing energy is going to go towards is those two books.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, I'm gonna be traveling. I so cool funny story about Genesis One is I actually booked a charter bus for Genesis One from like L to go from San Diego all the way to Northern California,
Hmm.
and it was a massive success. It was a blast. And the the guys that are the folks that are hosting three, so that's like the tournament in the UK.
Hmm.
They're gonna do a coach or a charter bus like that's gonna pass through like a couple of British or UK cities, and I want to hop on that bus. I think it would be marvelous. So I
That
bought
sounds
tickets for
awesome.
that. Yes, I'm gonna go to the UK and then I'm gonna go back to Sweden for like Vesta, which is like a good like Smash Camp in Sweden type of tournament.
Yeah. Which I don't know
So
if
those
you
are my
heard, Smash Camp is happening again, and Jerry is planning on taking a bunch of folks. I think he said this the 818 cabin is going to be happening. So if you still consider yourself 818 for that time frame that you were here in the valley, let him know.
I think Smash Camp is happening the same weekend as Coachella. I've been going to Coachella since 2007 every single year. I will not
Really?
miss that. I'm sorry. Yeah.
So you saw at the drive-in.
Yes, I saw at the drive-in. I saw the entire at the drive-in set like at that year. Hell yeah! I saw the Tupac hologram. I saw Prince perform. I saw everything.
Did eh, it's funny how this is turning around. The one of the main hosts from This Is Rad, Kyle Clark, he saw a bunch of people getting ready because people heard about the Tupac hologram, and people were like, "Let's go, let's get our good standing area." And then at the drive-in starts.
Just like raging and just, oh my god, hell yeah!
Yes.
Like I was like, oh my god, the surprise because I don't know if that was the same year. It might have been the same year. Was it?
At the drive-in happened when the Tupac hologram happened, and when it
Yeah, it
was
was.
and when it was meant to happen again, a bunch of people said, hey, let's head over this way, let's go get our good standing area. They didn't realize who the hell at the drive-in was, because they definitely weren't there for that. They were there for the Tupac hologram. And what
Oh,
happens is at the drive-in starts and people freak the fuck out, and
oh yeah, they met the one arm scissor. They met the one arm scissor, and they're just oh like yeah, hell yeah. That's I was uh, so I'm actually two Coachella stories, and maybe I can stop talking about that event. But like the so it was around the time Rage came back for 2007. Like they had been on hiatus and they came back to perform in
A
2007.
buddy of
There
ours,
was
a buddy of ours actually went to that one, and he got a bandana for Rage. Our friend
yeah,
Morrow.
because it was like the Battle of Coachella bandanas, right? Like that's what
Yep,
it said.
yep, he
Yeah,
had that.
the that was my first year, and I was like I fell in love with it just because of that Rage set. So like I this was like when I would just camp in front of like I'd be at the dead front for like an entire day just to kind of watch all of the acts perform and the ones whatever. And it was I'll never forget this lineup. It was Random House, Manu Chao, into Rage. And Rage fans were there from like the very like 12 the second they opened the door, the Rage fans rushed because it's been so many years and they were just gonna
Yeah,
perform there and like they just camped. So like they put up with everything. They put up with like the Jesus and Mary chain, which is like kind of like early '90s, late '80s, like indie, like college radio type of rock.
yeah.
And what's her face? That actress performed with them. Or she's went on stage and sang with them. Scarlett Johansson was on stage with them too.
Mm,
Anyways, so like and then Random House comes on, and this is like when the sun is about to go down, and they had that
yeah.
song. I forgot what it's called. Like it's like, hey now, and I saw like a couple of water bottles just fly from the Rage crowd,
No.
and it just like went across, and they missed the dude, but like you can tell like no one wanted to see Random House like right before Rage Against the Machine, so
Yeah,
it was like. Then Manu Chao came out and they killed it. Like they brought the vibe. They
yeah.
were wrecking things in a way that would like
Que
be like pretty.
corazón, mi corazón.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So that's Coachella story number 2 in terms of crowd stuff. Coachella story number 1. Coachella story number 2. So I don't know if you're familiar with Neutral Milk Hotel. They released that album in the aeroplane over the sea with like it was like that really like the one that like a bunch of music heads or like indie nerds like say like oh it's a great album. It's like
I'm
the
probably
one with
sure
like
if I heard a song or two, I might be like, oh yeah, them.
a the conceit about the album is like it's about like it's an abstract album about like Anne Frank and like her dealing with like the whole thing like yeah
Uh,
it's weird. There's like a lot of anyways, Neutral Milk Hotel back from hiatus, and they were performing at Coachella, and I was like, I was so stoked. And then I'm in the crowd, and like people were excited to see that this dude had like a saw, and he was playing the saw with like
oh
a
yeah,
violin or like a viola
with
bow.
the
Yeah,
bow.
yeah, it sounded sick. And then like I was talking to someone, and she was like, "That man plays the saw like I play the saw," and I'm like, "Oh, you play the saw, dope."
What the
I was
hell?
like in the crowd, I was like vibing with everyone, right? And this is around the time where Lana Del Rey really exploded,
Oh,
and
okay.
she was slated to be right after Neutral Milk Hotel. So like around the middle of like the Neutral Milk Hotel set, Lana Del Rey fans kind of just flooded, and you
Oh
could see
no.
like a sea of like flower crowns just kind of passing by. And
Yeah.
one of like the Neutral Milk Hotel songs is like they sing like I love you, Jesus Christ. And it just keeps going on. It's like, it's supposed to be ironic and it's the lyrics or whatever.
Yeah.
And then for like a good solid 10 minutes, all I could hear was just like this couple or these two folks behind me saying like, get the Jesus guys off the stage. And I'm
That's
like,
funny.
hotel, like what? Get the
Oh my
get
god.
Lana up there. So, yeah,
The
I hate Lana Del Rey. And
wait, did so funny. I want to say I'm thinking about the same person, but like they released merch for Lana Del Rey that like I don't think people knew what the hell that they were doing because it was a Lana Del Rey like oh it's a mirror. That was a Coke mirror.
yeah, they don't know.
That was a
Oh
Coke
yeah.
mirror. I was like, what? I was like,
Oh yeah.
Jesus. I think she also like recently like did an album with like where they ended up doing an album with oh god, who is it? All Time Low with featuring All Time Low, and they also did a cover of Summertime that like dropped. I want to say like about a year and a half ago at this point.
The living's easy, like that type of summertime. Not the Will Smith one, but like or
Yeah, the Sublime one.
yeah.
It was a Sublime cover. And it's funny,
Yeah,
like
that's
hearing
dope.
like her like saying like in a falsetto, saying that I wanted to hold her head underwater.
No, dude, no. It- Lana Del Rey and her fans, they occupy a niche in my mind that just won't release, and like it's great. I love them, but I also hate them. But
Oh my god,
I
that's
gotta
awesome.
get going soon. I gotta get going
Yes.
soon because my dog is. I gotta feed my dog. But please, is there anything else you wanted to talk about, or any last questions? I know this is gonna be unlisted, but I mean, I like to
Yeah.
address them.
You know what? I do actually. We did this the first time around. I did this with Jerry, but
Yeah.
let's do the 10 rapid fire questions. Let's see if I can think of something different. Hopefully, I don't repeat any. And
Yeah.
let's see what you got for me as well. Did you want to answer first? Or did you want to ask first?
We can flip a coin, dude. We can flip a coin. We can play rock, paper, scissors. Let's do the 10 rapid fires. Let's do it.
All right, hold on. Let me get my phone. Let's ask
How did
Google to
Jerry
flip a
like it?
coin. Oh, he thought it was great. Like I like specifically for us was like because like I knew him for such a short period of time that like when we did our whole thing and then the 10 rapid fire questions, like I asked questions that like were very specific to him and to us and to like our immediate area, and it just kept unlocking more and more things that were like super specific to our time frame in like the local music scene, and it was good stuff. It was good stuff. I think he asked. He said, "Oh, have you ever been? What's your worst injury?" And I don't want to hear about your broken heart.
Damn.
That's like, oh, I don't know. Does brain rock count? I don't know.
Damn, dude.
All right. So heads. Heads. I will go first to ask, and tails. You will ask first. So just so that you see. All right. Flip, and it is tails. That
All right, I'm
means
asking for.
ask away.
How many bandanas do you own?
I think I'm down to 3.
What are they?
They're
Or
just
is everything?
they're all black. They're all black. They're both like this, like the standard. And I have one. It's technically not a bandana. It's actually a napkin that I took from a restaurant, and I just use it as a bandana, and I wear that in my pocket from time to time. So I'm down to 3.
All right. Okay. Fuck, Mary, kill, Oogie Boogie, Jack Skellington, and we'll say.
Hold on before you
Sandy
say
Claus.
before you say anything.
Yeah.
That's my PC. My fiance got me this.
Okay.
I
Okay,
wanted
the
to,
mayor.
and the mayor.
Okay. Fuck, Mary,
I
kill, Oogie Boogie, Jack Skellington, and the mayor.
I think I have to kill the mayor because I do that scream that he does when he rolls down the hill or rolls down the
Yeah.
stairs. Jack, Jack. Oh, like, and that's the only reason I'll kill him because there can only be one Highlander situation.
Yeah.
And I feel like this is just the standard, but like you have to marry Jack, and you have to have your one amazing wild night with Oogie Boogie,
All
bugs
right.
and all.
Bugs and all. Favorite Tim Burton movie? It's not Nightmare Before Christmas.
Probably Edward Scissorhands.
All right.
Probably Edward
Um,
Scissorhands.
Favorite D&D character that you've played? Your like a PC character that you've played as over your entire D&D history.
I've only ever played one character because I didn't get into D&D until fairly recently. So I'm probably going to go with them. It's Fuerz Palma. They're a human fighter that has a specialty in archery, and I didn't know until probably about 2 sessions after it happened. But I have magical arrows, and I just had no idea. And then 2 sessions after that, I didn't realize I can attack more, which means we could have like defeated more enemies faster because I didn't read the level up sheet on D&D Beyond.
It happens.
But I do want to say probably the favorite character that I made, because I made two other characters, is probably oh god, what was the name? Oh, Pelamano Fumar, who is a dragonborn monk. Pelamano meaning peligroso mano,
Yeah,
and Fumar meaning mar de fuego. You
yeah.
know, because I thought of the idea: a dragonborn can breathe fire. Wouldn't it be
Yeah.
funny if they could just spit and go, "Hey guys, want to see something cool?" And they start the campfire. And
That
that
would
was
be
the whole
pretty dope.
basis. That was the whole basis of creating that character. I never ended up using them, but yeah.
That's a good hook for a character too. Okay, so I think that's four questions maybe.
Yep, we're at four
So four
questions.
questions. I have questions here. Favorite topping to put on a hamburger?
Like homemade or like from a particular place, because that I feel like those
However
are
you want to,
because those are two
however you
different
want to interpret
things. Those are two different
that.
things.
However you want to
I think
interpret that. However you
avocado.
want.
I think avocado. Yeah.
Avocado it is. The last time that your mother ever hit you for you doing something dumb.
God.
It could be a playful hit. It could be a real hit. It could be whatever. Or not mother, but maybe guardian or family member.
I was probably 17, sometime in high school, and I can't remember for what.
All right. 7. The last time that you had a bloody nose.
Um. I think it's because I was blowing my nose, but that was probably sometime like 2 years ago.
All right. All right. Favorite Manu Chao song.
Um. Ooh. Probably clandestino.
And then what is one thing that you could tell teenage Spargo, or I guess Spargo now? What is one thing that you can tell Spargo that you feel would be the best piece of advice that he needs to succeed in life?
Damn. The funny answer is you gotta stop listening to so much K-pop because
You'll take that.
because and it starts funny, but like the thing is, and it really comes to, you have to explore more of your own personal identity, because pouring a lot of time and energy into like a small niche area, it doesn't do good things in the long term. And it comes back a little bit to like some of the conversation we had on our last talk, and we touched, I think, a little bit on during this one, of like, you can create a lot of like yourself and a persona of whatever, and like existing in whatever space you do, but that's all you know, and you kind of can't really exist outside of it. So if you want to create experiences and be more of a rounded individual, you got to break away and start trying to enjoy things you probably wouldn't try, at least the first time around. Like a good example for me is like, it took me a long time before I started listening to ranchera music again, or norteño music. Like I didn't start listening until the last couple of years again. And that's something I didn't connect with growing up, right? Technology, like learning about like how audio works, learning all that kind of stuff. That's something I didn't give myself the opportunity to want to learn about. So it stems from saying stop listening to K-pop, but it really means you have to learn how to become more of a well-rounded individual.
All right. I think that was question 9, maybe question 8 or 9.
This
And then
this one will be question 9.
okay, so for 9, what is something that you noticed in JMOOC that you could learn and bring into your own life?
Posture, and like the meaning of hold on. The meaning of like what the posture meant for him. It is becoming more zen, becoming more disciplined into oneself, and being very aware of what you do to present yourself and the positive just a positive all the positive things that can stem from putting that level of importance in such a simple thing as like your posture. So that's definitely something.
Good answer. And then question number 10. Um, where's the partner? She was around here last time, and I don't.
Oh, oh, she was working out
Oh,
while during the middle of this, and right now she's probably with the dogs.
okay. Sorry, I copped out on that last question. I was like wondering, like, where's the fan? No, the real last question. Real last question time.
Okay.
Um, what is one genre of music that you've never explored but you would want to pick up and kind of spend some time with?
I think probably more stuff in Spanish. So
Mm,
more of like the post rock en español from not just Mexico but all throughout Latin America. Like I hear hits and bits of it, you know, with Caifanes, Jaguares, and I know that one song from Los Prisioneros that they play at the end of at the end of party, Tren al Sur, right? Fucking yeah, but probably that. That's probably
mm,
where I would want to like sink more into, because I've noticed that like I've liked more moody sounding electronic music recently. As I've gotten older, I have moved away a little bit more from punk and metal and grindcore and all that stuff. And like all that stuff has its place and it's awesome. But like sometimes I need to feel my feelings and feel sad and depressed and like I'm disintegrating. Right. Sometimes I just need to feel those feelings, and I think that's
hell
where a lot of
yeah.
that music comes from. And yeah.
Wonderful. All right, your turn.
All right. So question number one. What's something that or somewhere growing up that's not there anymore that you miss, like a restaurant, a place to hang out, a place from your childhood that you liked, that you miss that's no longer there?
My mom used to have a restaurant right across from my dad's upholstery shop, and she would be making me any sort of meal or anything whenever I was going. Like I'd walk over there, and this is like between the ages of 3 and 4. So I miss that restaurant.
Oh my god, that's extremely personal. That's awesome to hear. Oh, if you could go back in time and tell the development team behind Melee, hey, you also have to add this last character, and they believed you, what character would have been input in Melee?
Damn good question. I feel like there's an absolutely. I feel like Melee is such a complete roster. Like you have everything kind of handled there.
Hmm.
So I would probably offer like, what is a character that I can think of that would handle your Sheiks, that would handle your Jigglypuffs and your Foxes, like your big three right there, and like but encourage the other like mid tiers or lower tiers to have like a decent matchup against. So I'm gonna say what would be funny for that. I'm just gonna say Waluigi. I'm just gonna say
Waluigi?
Waluigi.
All right,
Waluigi.
Waluigi. The ramifications of that is Waluigi also makes it into Brawl, Smash 4, and into Ultimate. So that's a good one.
Yeah, Waluigi it is.
um, let's definitely not do a let's do a non-Smash for this one. Is there a movie that you enjoyed as a child or show that you remember fondly, and when you tried to show it to a partner, you realize it probably wasn't as good as you remember?
Yes, Freakazoid from like 1995 on like Kids WB. Like the Freakazoid is very much of its time, where it's like proto-internet meme random culture.
Yeah.
And like every single reference that Freakazoid makes is specific to those writers that were referring to like 1970s like sitcoms and like B movies.
Yep.
So unless you know all of the sitcoms and B movies that are kind of like referenced in Freakazoid, as well as like a litany of like other like Warner Brothers type of bullshit, if anyone tries to watch Freakazoid, they're like, "What the fuck is this?" And I'm like, "This is hilarious. This is great." Like
You don't need to know the reference.
That's,
It's just funny.
no, that guy's totally doing what's his name? What's the name? What's the name of that? Is it Jerry Lewis? That guy's totally doing Jerry Lewis and the Nutty Professor. How do you not get that? Yeah.
That's funny. That is a good one. For me, real quick, Invader Zim.
Yeah, Invader Zim sucks.
Invader Zims and this anime called Rurouni Kenshin.
That's a bold one because I actually like it. Or I like Rurouni Kenshin.
Yeah, Rurouni Kenshin.
I think
that was
there's
a
some
good one.
Yeah, I think you can go back and look at that one, but that's my thought.
She didn't like it. I thought it was great. I thought it was awesome.
That's different stroke shit. Okay, continue.
Exactly. All right. You know what? Let me ask this. What are your 5 favorite anime?
This is like super basic. Everyone knows them, but I'm just gonna share them.
Larry Lemons. Hold on, real quick. Larry Lemons. This is the creator of that anime. I do not know. We're not gonna talk about it. We're not gonna post cancel right now. We're gonna leave that alone.
Neon Genesis Evangelion, Cowboy Bebop, Dragon Ball Z, I guess Yu Yu Hakusho, and then what would be a 5th one that I really like? I guess an anime film that I thought was really cool was Perfect Blue.
Okay. Yu Yu Hakusho. That was a good one. We watched that from start to finish. It was great. Her favorite character is Koenma.
Koenma's great.
Koenma. I actually bought a pack of socks that has Yusuke, Kuwabara, and the whole crew. Let's see. That was question number 4. Question number 5. Where is one place you want to go to a tournament that you think would be a terrible place to have it, but the experience of going there is what's worth going to?
Tanzania, or like Somalia, or like somewhere like that's absolutely just crazy dangerous. Like, not like there should be no tournament there, but like for some reason it's just like they decided to host brawl in like Somalia. Like, okay, let's just go over there.
Let's do it.
Congo, yeah, or like North Korea. Wouldn't that be great if there was like a hidden boss in like North Korea that was just like amazing with like, I don't know, young Link, and they just like kill it every single time, and they're like, yo, have you heard of like this like North Korean young Link?
Yo, do you know the story of the wrestling match the biggest wrestling match that no one ever saw?
No, what's that?
So there's I think it's called Beyond the Mat, which was like a series that Vice did. And it's awesome because they take a bunch of people during, I think, just pre-Attitude Era wrestling and Korean wrestlers, and they bring them over, and no one knew what the hell was happening. So when the broadcast was happening, they put like people chatter. They didn't know like that they were supposed to cheer for people. But the final match, they did a tournament in Ukraine for Tekken, and it was ran by some mafia dudes. Damn, I think that's the real answer.
Continue.
But and again, this was taking place in North Korea. The main wrestler was, even though he was from Japan, culturally he was Korean. So when it was him against Ric Flair, the actual crowd, the crowd blew up. And when he wins, they're like, "This is a win for North Korea."
Woo! Like, what can you say to that?
Woo! We styling, profiling, right? So yeah,
That's your fifth.
that's my fifth. All right. Do you
Trying
have
to make
any?
these more rapid fire, dog.
I know, but the thing is, like, it adds conversation, and I love it. Is there anything? Is there anything that you collect from childhood that you still collect now?
No.
No.
No, no. Memories.
Memories. That's a good one. Oh, what's your favorite food that you recommend to people that's local to you whenever they come down to see you if they're from out of area?
Fun fact, I actually have a running list of restaurants that I that are either like I have like this list of places to go within San Diego that are categorized by Mexican food, general food, things that I think are highly rated by like Yelp standards or Google ratings or whatever, and then
Hmm.
a bunch of other stuff as well. My favorite go-to place though at the moment is City Taco in North Park. So,
Mm.
not like it used to be fancier, people were like all about it, but like it's great for like varied takes on tacos.
All right. Um, let's see. If you do a lot of gaming, what's your primary gaming thing? Like gaming system?
Oh, gaming system. I was
Yeah.
like, are we talking about like what are those called? Visual novels? Like, no, like,
We're not talking about Doki Doki Literature Club or anything like that. No. Or Danganronpa, I think is
uh,
another one, weird one.
yeah, shout outs to Dan Salvato. The no, the my gaming thing. Um, my gaming thing is playing on the Switch, and I've been playing Fire Emblem lately. So I
Mm.
think tactical games are like my cocaine.
It's truly your Jamie Jam right now, huh?
Well, I mean, I put all my time and thought into like, how do I optimize this person to be the best archer ever? Like that's like that's unhealthy, but I love it.
There's a person who said, "Yeah, I realized my favorite game is just called spreadsheets."
That's no, sincerely, like the things that I have done, the unholy formulas that I've written in spreadsheets just to get like the optimal character.
That's a good one. That's a good one. All right, I think that was seven. So number eight. Which major did you not go to that you realized, whew, dodged a bullet going not going there?
Never felt like that. The
No.
no, never. I think jokingly I've made like cracks about it because no, but I've never felt that way.
Okay. Is there one that you regretted not being able to go to recently?
Yeah, not recently, but like I think one of the Smash camps. I would have loved to have gone to one of the Smash camps, but I think I was just completely pooped and I just couldn't make it. I was physically just exhausted.
All right. So I'm not going to count that as nine, even though I asked the second question.
No, you're fine.
All right.
It doesn't count, sorry.
Ooh. Oh, give me four people you would want to take on a road trip with you from SoCal all the way to New York for a local, just to compete in a local. And
Just to compete.
any player, like you're gonna go compete at nightclub. So you're gonna take a group of whoever from over here, and you're gonna drive cross country to go compete in nightclub.
Steech is my number one. So Steech is like San Diego incredible player. I would take him. I would take Subtails. Subtails is another kind of local player that I had an amazing road trip with. Like I'm thinking like who would be kind of like really fun in the road trip type of thing, but who also would kind of compete and like turn heads. So like Steech, Subtails, who would turn heads and make people think about things differently, or who would I take that would have like they would have like a life affirming experience and would be able to kind of like grow from it.
Fiction.
Um, You? Okay, so like you joke about fiction and stuff, but like sincerely, I've known fiction for so long. That guy's on another level in terms of like life experiences. Um, this is hard because I have two more people, right, to bring with me.
Yep, we got two more people.
Who would be really fun? A nightclub. Is it melee only? Can I take an ultimate person?
It doesn't matter. You're taking them to compete at nightclub. It doesn't matter. They could be HDR only. They could be PM only. They could be 64 only. They could be rivals only.
Um, I think another person just because I'm thinking of like I would take a who's really good that doesn't really go anywhere. Or who's like SoCal maybe. Who needs like a life experience? I need someone to kind of balance out my energy. Um, I would probably take Mimsy, I guess. I'm trying to like I'm looking at like San Diego people that I would take for this type of thing. Oh, and I would take Mimsy and then I would also take Kopaka. Fuck that guy, but I'd take him. No, no,
Awesome.
no. No, I wouldn't take Mimsy. I would take Snake. So I would take Snake and I would take Kopaka. So
All right. All right. Last one. Let's think of something either extremely silly or extremely deep.
either or.
Either or. Oh God. What to ask? If you had to start all over again,
Mm-hmm.
and you had to choose a different name for Major, what would it have been?
Ooh,
Knowing,
yeah.
with the caveat, knowing that the trajectory of the zine was going to be exactly the same. The only difference
Knowing
is
that
the
the
name. Yeah.
only difference is the name. Um, Fuck, like Major is such a good name.
It is.
Like,
That's what I'm saying.
I think Major's a really good name for what it ended up being, and then what it was. Okay, so thinking about it, um,
You can give me a good answer and a silly answer.
um, that's crazy. Like, what would it be? It has to be like, um, I'm thinking like, right now my mind is going to like a name like Counterpicks, like just like
Mmm.
Counterpicks seems like something that I would probably do.
That's a good one.
Or like friendlies. Like I think friendlies would be funnier. Not even funnier.
Yeah.
I think it makes it just like it softens the blow. Like Major makes it sound like big and just like in your face type of thing. Where like friendlies makes it sound like it's a more communal kind of like silly type of thing. So I like
Yeah.
friendlies. Friendlies or counterpicks are probably like the two things I would land on. Now a silly name. Secondaries. Yeah. Counterpick, secondaries, or friendlies. Those are the three.
That is super awesome. That's it. We done our 10 questions. I want to thank you for doing this. I want to thank you for wanting to have this conversation so shortly after another one that we had. It was super awesome. I loved hearing about the zine. I loved hearing about your future ventures, your hopeful prospects of some people who can take up the torch. It's awesome to hear. I want to thank you for taking the time again. Thankfully, you didn't have to go see another Modest Mouse concert, like I said earlier, and which I
You're gonna.
which I'm sorry if like this is weird to say, but like you saw one of the last performances with their drummer.
I don't know if it was that guy, but I think I might have been.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think I might have seen the last performance with their drummer last shows. I don't know if he performed in San Diego. But I mean, yeah,
it's quite
I
possible.
mean maybe. Yeah, quite possible.
Yeah.
I can look
So,
that up.
yeah. Well, that's for another time, I guess. But again, seriously, thank
Yeah.
you for all of this. Where do you want people to? Where do you want to point people to for this going forward? Like, are you gonna hold on to the major zine for a bit? Are you going to create a new name that we can follow, or what's going on?
Fuck Twitter. I don't want people to follow me on Twitter. I hate Twitter. I legitimately do. I think it's horrible. But please follow at Majorzine on Twitter. It's just, we'll post like group stuff and it'll be less Oats things, which is kind of silly but funny at the same time. Go to the
Yeah.
Major Discord. I think the Major Discord is a good place to kind of have like to build that community of artists and writers and whatnot.
Do you have a
And
link readily available for me to post in here later on?
yeah, and just look at our link tree for all of this stuff. It'll take you everywhere, either like the latest issue, the Instagram, the Twitter, or the Discord.
All right, man. Thank you again. Thank you very much. If in 2 months or 3 months, I'm like, I need to have another Oats conversation, and hopefully I won't be muted for a good like 30 minutes during it, and they can hear the great conversation we have. Hopefully we can do this again. So again, thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah. If you have like a content hole and you just need someone to kind of fill it in, I'll join. Well, we can talk about Kaifana. It's like I don't mind.
Hell yeah, exactly. Maybe we can get someone else on, and we can have like a three person setup next time. My plan is to do one of these once a month, and the hope is if you become a regular one, this will just be our regular thing.
Fair enough.
All right, man. I want to say goodbye. You take care of yourself, right, man?
Or you too. Thank you very much for the opportunity and the fun. Bye.
Bye. Oh, there's a good amount of time of where all that's just gone. Doesn't exist. You didn't hear it. Later. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. Anyone that's watching this, tell us what you think we heard. I mean, you heard him. You heard Oats. You didn't hear me. Maybe you'll guess what I said. I don't know. Well, that's that's the very end. We'll do this again sometime later. Hopefully with less sound issues. So that's it.